this video, you're going to see how to wrap the legs of a chair. Now, when I was on location filming videos for the Wrap Institute at this Mercedes dealership, I noticed that one of the textured films I had matched the leather of the chair, and that the legs were white. So it kind of just, for me, it didn't quite look right. And I thought, how cool would it be if they were wrapped with the same material, black, kind of create a meaner overall feel. So before cleaning or prepping, what I did is I took pre-mask film. I'm going to wrap it around there just to get the idea of exactly how big I need to cut the piece. And I got this technique from Charlie Chirillo. He owns a company in Oklahoma called Lettering Express, and I think it's a great technique, especially if you're on location. Here I want to cut a piece out, and you'll see this later, for the exact shape so I don't have to cut directly on the car, almost like a plotted pre-cut piece. So once I make that mark on the pre-mask, come back and clean it. Now obviously, chair legs close to the ground get sprayed on, even if like people are mopping or cleaning. A lot of chemicals get on there, so you want to really take your time and clean it, top to bottom, especially the edges there. And once it's clean, again, just try to clean with alcohol. You don't need to clean with soap and water. You don't want to get wet. Is you come back and use it, because it's wood, very low surface energy, put a thin coat of adhesive promoter on all the edges, especially right there at the bottom. And again, you want to let it dry properly. So again, do it at the top, do it at the sides, wherever you think you're going to need it. So again, especially at those top edges, and it may be around the area where the overlap is going to be. So the overlap, you always want to have the overlap, obviously under the chair, facing away from view. So put a little adhesive promoter there. Now I come back to that pre-mask piece, and I'm going to lay it down on the pre-mask, and I have the marker there. So on the right side is exactly the distance. So it's kind of a rectangle that I have now, and I lay it flat on the film, in this case the textured film. It doesn't have to be perfect in terms of laying it without wrinkles, but what I want to do is cut it just exactly along the line that I made there, and then come back and cut it exactly along the straight edge of the pre-mask there. And obviously I'm doing 4 chair legs, so I'm going to do 4 of these. But obviously for the video, I'm just going to show you one. But basically just you want to make sure you keep that pre-mask piece and just reuse it as many times as you need to. And then when you start with the piece, the straight edge on the back side where the overlap is going to be. So obviously you want your overlap right on the corner just to hide it, because you always want to hide it on body lines. So I lock it in on that first side there, and obviously what you see at the top is about 1/4 of an inch extra material at the top, because as you come around with this piece, sometimes it dips down a little bit. So you don't want to be exactly in place there. You want to have a little bit of play, so as it turns, you have enough coverage, because then you go back and kind of trim that out at the end. So just kind of work in increments here using the hard part of the squeegee, and I'm really tucking in deep behind that top leg there. Tuck it in super deep, and then this is one of the rare times where I want to cut as I go, because I just want to cut these pieces out and trim them so the material relaxes over there. So obviously be careful not to cut directly on the upholstery. You want to kind of have your blade right in between, that sweet spot. Once I make that cut, it's technically a relief cut, but again I got full coverage. Swing it around, and again really taking time to make sure that corner is correct. Swing it around there, pull it down, work it around that top corner, and then squeegee it down flat. Once you got it down flat, tuck it into that top corner there. Again, taking the time with the hard part of the squeegee to really snug it in there. Come back with the blade, and again, extra sharp blade, very light touch. And again, just work in increments right here. Again, this is just slow and steady wins the race right here. Speed doesn't really come into factor here. It's just really doing it right. Once you get that top part, and especially that corner there, then cut everything out, trim it. Again, notice I'm not working on the bottom area at this point, just leaving that for later. It's all about the top at this point. So then I swing it around this bottom section here, almost home. And what's great about this pre-cut piece is now it fits like a puzzle piece right there. So no need to cut directly on the chair leg. But once it's all set now, the top section is done and the overlap's done. What I want to do is focus on the front part. So again, get the heat gun ready. So again, some heat guns sometimes take a little while to get warm. Now that it's the right temperature, what I want to do is just seal that overlap. It's a textured film, it's calendar, so I really want to make sure that overlap is sealed. There's no tension there, just make sure it's sealed. Then what I want to do is focus on the corners. So notice I'm kind of pulling in towards the middle. So all the material is going to collapse underneath the chair leg. Now obviously no need to wrap underneath the chair leg, so just going to get it underneath enough. So that's why I'm going to take all the material there, not worried about it bunching out. So again, just really taking the tension out right there. So heating it, pulling it, generous amount of heat. This is thick. This material is around 6 millimeters thick. just push it in right in the corner. Again, that adhesive promoter, on vehicles, I'm not a big fan of using an adhesive promoter, but I think on low surface energy and interior films, on wood in particular, you have to use it. Otherwise, the material is just not going to stick for the long term. So once I'm making those cuts, nice, clean, and symmetrical cuts, working around the corner there, and kind of now treating those corners as relief cuts. So once I make a cut, I swing the material around and really taking the tension out. So just working even increments around those corners, and then heat everything down nice and clean. And you got that overlap on the back. And notice here, just kind of repeating for the next chair leg. So again, save the template there. It's kind of like a mole, and then I cut everything out. Nice and easy, and I can cut directly on the floor because I'm cutting right on top of the backing paper, so not cutting directly on the floor of the showroom. And once that's done, I can just start and do repeat, which is great. So again, what I love about this is once you start going, it really builds efficiency, and then you got that perfect overlap at the back. And again, I just did this to show you, if I start clearly at the top, see how I come up short on the back. So again, that's another reason why, even though it's a little more work, by giving that 1/4 inch at the top, really ensures full coverage. So now with both front legs done, here's the shot of the final result. And it really changes it quickly. Not a lot of film, doesn't take too much time. I would say it takes about 20 minutes to wrap all 4 chair legs on this. And now for the wrap up. Again, always think for the chair legs on that wood, it's low surface energy, so definitely use adhesive promoter there. And I'd highly recommend using a high tack film. Try not to get one with air egress or repositionable, just let it stick on there super tight. And there's a wide variety of films that can be used, cast, calendar, textured, anything, which can really open up a lot of possibilities. Again, uses a minimal amount of film, methodic install. So again, really good price point on this, I think, in terms of profit and install time. Thanks for watching. Justin Pate.